Hey, how's it going? Preps here and welcome back to another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video I'm going to be going over my thoughts on the upcoming Night Stalkers team and in particular the reworks to Moon Knight and Agatha Harkness. Also at the end I'll compare them with Super Skrull and Mephisto to see where they rank on the stats table. With all that said, let's get into it. Alright, starting off with Moon Knight's stat reworks, and while he did get decent buffs to his health, damage, focus and resistance, he didn't get much in the way of armor. Moon Knight's armor has always been pretty low, and even though it did get a buff, it still sits fairly low on the stats table. Now there are two major things that bug me about his rework. First one is part of his kit that I'll go over later, and the second one is his speed. Ever since we found out Moon Knight was getting a rework, I had hoped they would buff his speed, because 105 speed in this meta just doesn't cut it. Instead, they've put a 20% speed buff to the entire team in Man-Thing's kit, which makes using Moon Knight in city content, where Man-Thing will be excluded, a little less appealing. Overall, he got a pretty decent stat boost, and while he doesn't have the best armor, his high health and 15% damage reduction passive will counteract that a little bit. Moving on to Agatha, and I thought Scopely was going to be pretty careful when it came to Agatha's stat rework because she does a lot of piercing damage and she also heals and gives barrier based off of her max health. But when the team at Scopely asked the boss how high he wanted them to buff Agatha's stats, he just said yes. So I'm very interested to see how she's going to perform after the rework, because they have some interesting interactions in their kits. Speaking of kits, let's go over the kit reworks quickly, and I mean quickly because there wasn't much that really changed. First up, Moon Knight, and they added the Night Stalker tag to his basic, meaning that when he's forced to attack a Night Stalker ally, he deals less damage. How much less damage? None of your business, that's how much. Next, his special gained 50% more damage and can chain to more targets. It also can't be counterattacked in raids. Now his ultimate, and this is my second biggest gripe of the reworks. If he has 3 or more Night Stalker allies, this attack clears all positive effects and is unavoidable. Which is actually a great change, but would have been nicer if it was 2 allies. That way, when doing city restricted content with Blade and Karen, he would still get these buffs. There's a lot of city restricted content in the game, from challenges to Dark Dimension and legendary unlocks. Yes, I know we have Spider Society and they can complete the city content no problem, but I still think Scopely missed the mark on this one. Lastly, his passive. He gets a 50% damage buff in all game modes, which just means they buffed his damage stat less. I think this kind of stuff from Scopely is just lazy. That being said, he's gonna have some really good stats and I can't wait to see what he can do. Okay, Agatha's kit now, and here her basic and ultimate got the Night Stalker tag, which is good. It means she can now give barrier to the team based on her max health, which isn't the highest in the game, but as we'll see in a minute, it's still pretty high. She also got the Night Stalker tag added to her passive, so she's going to do a lot of great things when a Night Stalker ally falls below 30% health. Not only that, she gives the whole team 50% focus, and most importantly, 25% drain, which when paired with Blade's passive, grants the team a total of 55% drain, which is absolutely crazy. This is going to be one tough team to take down. Okay, next I want to take a look at where Moon Knight and Agatha will sit on the stats table after the reworks, just like I did with Silver Surfer and Ultimus. Keep in mind, I'm no math genius, this is where they'll roughly sit without taking into consideration Blade and Karen. As we can see, they'll both sit roughly in the top 10 with most of their stats, excluding Moon Knight's armor and speed and Agatha's health and speed. Although, with Man-Thing's passive, Moon Knight's speed will increase from 105 to 126 and Agatha's will increase from 114 to 137, so they're going to be pretty fast when paired with Man-Thing. One bit I found interesting is how fast Super Skrull is falling down the stats table after the release of the Annihilator, Orcus, and now Night Stalker teams. But I guess that just goes to show that stats aren't everything, because Super Skrull is still one of the best characters in the game. That being said, I'm definitely curious to see how the reworked characters will perform once the changes go live. Alright, some final thoughts. Overall, the reworks seem a bit lackluster. Yeah, they got some good stats, but I think Scopely missed a few opportunities at some cool mechanics that could have been utilized in their kits. I really wish they'd put in a little bit more effort when it comes to reworking a character. This team is obviously going to be good in raids, but I'm more interested to see how they perform outside of raids. Also, Blade is an important character that a lot of players have been waiting a long time for, so I really hope Scopely don't screw up his release method. They're on thin ice with a lot of players as it is. Paywalling Blade could be a massive mistake. But those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.